Hey everyone, welcome back to the realm.
Hola,
Your Monday single topic podcast with my name's Gina.
I'm Rich.
He had to think about who he is today. So, Rich is going to take the reins today. So,
Well, we discussed several different things that we were going to do. And what I came up with is some urban legend stuff. All right. Here's what I was thinking when I was looking at this, and I was thinking urban legends. So
mhm.
what's urban legends? And
So I'll take a stab. Like,
you tell me
urban
what you tell
legends.
me what your definition you think is of urban legend.
So you know how like every town kind of has their story of
Mhm.
something like that happens there, whether it's like the weird old lady that lives in the creepy ass house on
Mhm.
the hill or something,
Yep.
something similar to that. That's
Yep.
what I consider like urban legends.
Yeah, and that's part of it. That's kind of the whole thing in a nutshell. The actual definition is it's a myth or tale in a modern genre of folklore, often consists of fictional stories with macabre ghost stories, demons, superstitions, cryptos, which you know
That's right up your
I
alley.
love a
That's
good
your favorite.
chupacabra. Still never seen one. Extraterrestrials and other fear garnering narrative elements. So basically, like you were saying, the old lady that lives someplace and
Yeah.
everybody's, she might be the nicest lady, but everybody comes up with a story, and then before you know it, it grows its own legs, so to speak, and it's this, that's the place you don't go because of whoever lives there.
Right. Well, we actually had one of those growing up when I lived in Illinois, goodness, Hartville, Ohio, when I was a
Okay.
kid. And so we would walk down the road, and there was this like white house, was kind of actually at the bottom of a hill, not a big hill, just a little hill to go down to her house.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody would tell like, oh, don't go there, she's creepy, whatever. Basically, I can't even remember, maybe something along the line, she eats children, I have no idea, like whatever they wanted to make up.
Right, 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 right.
So me, I think I've just been this way my whole life. I am like, I'm going to try to make friends with the underdog. I'm going to try to make friends with people that are misunderstood. And at the tender age of 7 years old, I'm out riding bikes with my friends, and I'm like, I'm gonna go to her house. I'm gonna say hi. And they're like, don't do it, don't do it. Everybody's scared. I'm like, I'm gonna do it, because I think
Mm-hmm.
I'm brave and tough and was
Sure.
such a tomboy. And I remember I go up to the door. This lady ended up being the nicest, sweetest lady. I don't know if she ever, to me, I felt like she might have been lonely. I don't ever recall ever seeing anybody at her house, but
Right.
I don't know if she had family or not, or what she did with her life, but in my mind as a 7-year-old, I pictured her
Sure.
as this lady just stays holed up in her house.
Right.
And she let us in, and she like gave us snacks and drinks. And so it became a habit. Like I would go down and see her quite often. And I remember she had, this is where my love for National Geographic came, was she had like just stacks of magazines and newspapers all around
Sure.
like the perimeter of the different rooms in her house. Like
Mm-hmm.
back then, I guess you would call it a hoarder, but her house was neat and clean, but it was just these stacks of like magazines everywhere.
Right.
And they were the National Geographic. So she would let me borrow some, and I'd go and I'd read about all these faraway places, or ancient things or
Sure.
cool things from other countries. And when my dad died, like within that year, and we ended up moving away from the area when I was 8. So I don't even know if I ever said goodbye to her,
Mm.
but yeah. So like you said, like they could be the nicest old
Right.
lady, and people have all these scary stories about her. So that was the
I mean,
lesson.
and at that age too, 7, whatever, you know what, you got to think, 7, 8, 9, 10, maybe up to your, maybe early teen. That's where you're probably the most impressionable, and
Yeah.
you're gonna make things up, or your brain's gonna run away with everything. It doesn't matter
They
what you
had us
hear.
scared for
Oh, I'm
everything. And
sure,
she,
sure.
I think she was a cat lady though, too. I'm almost positive she had a lot of cats. And I say that with all due respect, because
Oh yeah,
I'm on the brink of you could be considered a cat lady.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Rich is a cat lady, everybody. I just want to put that out there.
We love pets. We love animals. That's all I can tell you. I don't know what else to say about that.
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to derail your conversation.
No,
but I had to
absolutely.
tell you that you're right. Like there's always a story of somebody.
Now I'm trying to think back, and like I said before at the beginning of the show here, my brain is the size of a pea. And I have a hard time remembering anything I do lately. I'm not sure why. It could be numerous things. Mainly, I'm older
getting
than dirt.
old, dude.
Yeah, I'm older than dirt.
You're not older than dirt. We're just getting old.
Man, I'm trying to think. I can't recall of any urban legend type things that probably affected me at all.
Where did you grow up?
Right here.
Oh, did you? I wasn't sure. You say born and raised.
Born and raised.
Stella.
We always hung out in our own little group. Trying to think if there was anything that would have been considered urban legend. I mean, we all had our own thing that we would do. I can't think of anything that anybody tried to do to scare anyone else. We had some creepy people that we knew, but that's a different episode.
Whole different beast.
Yeah, that's a different episode of that. But what I kind of started looking up when I started thinking about urban legends, and I kind of, I went, you know what? We live in Wisconsin. What are Wisconsin's top urban legends?
Oh, very cool. You stayed local. That's pretty awesome.
Forget about the Bloody Marys or the, Area 51s.
I think I know one that you're going to bring up.
Do you?
I think.
Okay. You tell me which one you think it is, because I get a list here on my screen, and I'm just going to go through them and we can discuss them as we go. I mean,
Beast of Bray Road.
Nope, not on there.
Oh, you did.
I mean, you're right. Okay. You're absolutely right.
But that's one we can do for another time.
Absolutely. And I would categorize it as an urban legend. It doesn't make the top 8, so to speak, of what they say. And I don't know that any of these 8 that they're calling Wisconsin's top 8 are ones I've even heard of.
Oh, okay. But I'm not from Wisconsin. I just transplanted here in like 2010, right. I want to say. And the only legend I know from this area is,
wait a minute now. You moved here or came to this area in
2010. Yeah. And then I joined the paranormal.
I know you since you moved here.
Exactly. Because I joined the paranormal.
So was I like one of the first people you met? Was I like one of the first people you met and you said, man,
I gotta be friends.
We got to join this paranormal team. We got to.
I have to. I mean, you were you sealed the deal. It was it was I was like, oh, okay, well.
No, I do find out that I talk way too much. I need to learn how to shut up.
When?
Oh my God.
Like in these podcasts? No.
When I investigate, I listen to recorder. I'm Chatty Cathy. Let me tell you, I need to shut up.
Oh, like on investigation.
Oh my God. I wish somebody would tell me, hey, shh. But no, nobody ever tells me to be quiet. I don't know. So anyway,
I guess I don't notice it, but I don't notice it at the time. So
well, you know what? I don't notice it when I'm doing it. And I even tell myself, don't do it. But when I listen to my recorders, oh my God.
I feel like I do the same thing too. And I'm like guilty of whispering when I do investigation.
Yeah, whispering is probably one of the hardest things that
I'm the whisperer. Like I don't do it so low that you're really wondering, but there could be times when you're just like, oh, and you rewind it and then you're like, oh no, it's just fucking whispering.
It's hard. It is very hard. And I catch myself doing it too. So let's dive into this list that I have here. And you're probably, like you said, you haven't really lived here that long, so these are probably none that you're gonna know of.
Okay. But I'm excited to hear about them.
But I looked at the list and then I kind of went and tried to read up on each of them. Some of the ones had some stuff, other ones I couldn't find more information on other than what they're saying. So I don't know how many, this first one here, Boy Scout Lane. Now this one here, at the end of July, I'm supposed to be going up to up north, Eagle River area.
Okay.
And when I typed in Eagle River haunted locations, because of course whenever I go somewhere I gotta look for haunted locations, because that's just what I do. There's gonna be something scary.
Right.
This one actually pops up as being in North Woods area, which I was like, oh, I wasn't even looking for it. It was just I was looking for something else and it popped up. So I'm like, okay, well, this one is interesting. Boy Scout Lane says Stevens Point area. There's an
Yeah.
isolated road. Says in the 50s or 60s, a group of Boy Scouts were killed. Now, there's like most urban legends, there's different variations of the story. So, one version of the story has the troop leader killing all the children, and the other account, one of the boys drops a lantern, causes a forest fire that kills all of them. So, drops a lantern, boom, forest fire, everybody's dead.
And that's the scout leader that did that.
Nope, the first version of that is a popular one, is that the troop leader killed all the kids.
Okay.
Okay. The second version is that one of the boys drops a lantern, causes a forest fire, and kills them. So not more of there's a killer among them, just that it was an accident that happened and all the kids got killed. Now it says people who visit the area report these things. They report feeling watched, seeing a light, hearing twigs breaking under their feet, and seeing childlike handprints on vehicles.
See, and we hear that legend so many places.
Yeah.
There'll be an episode that's going to get put out before this one does, that where we went on the West Virginia road trip. And so it'll be reminding listeners, for those of you that have listened to it by the time you get to this, where, kids would push the car out of the way or to safety.
Yep. And I've heard numerous different stories that I've listened to on podcasts or whatever. And I've heard that several other times too.
Yeah.
The handprints of kids or whatever. But the kids thing is a popular narrative when you're talking about haunted locations a lot. I noticed. I don't know if it's
I think they're the most like mysterious when they talk about like the kid, it's like the most mysterious thing to bring up, because the worst thing to think of is a tragedy with children. And it's true,
Right.
I just, and urban legends have to come from something, but like I would love to know how it started. Is there any validity to
there? Like I said, I looked it up. When I looked up Eagle River area, it pops up and it actually says that there's this road you can go and you can, people go there and do ghost hunting. So I'd be up for it. I'd go there and check it out.
It's only, what is it, like 2 hours? Oh no, Stevens Point's way up
it's
north.
way up there.
Way okay. Like Sault Ste. Marie area.
And it's actually a little bit of a drive from the Eagle River area. When I looked it up, nothing actually popped up in Eagle River. The closest was probably Rhinelander area, which is just south of there. Otherwise, the Stevens.
I have a friend from Rhinelander and I make fun of her. And the only reason I do is because everybody else was making fun of her because she was from Rhinelander, and she said she was always made fun of because and this, no disrespect to Rhinelander, but apparently it's like, like, I guess, country bumpkin kind of thing, it's like the country bumpkin of Wisconsin, but they believe in, like, which year are you going to talk about? Rhinelander?
Story number 2.
Okay, then I'll let you go into
Hodag.
Jamie, this podcast is for you.
The Rhinelander Hodag. Now, I first heard of this on an episode of with Josh Gates.
Okay, yeah.
He did an episode, and he was up there investigating it, looking for this creature. Now,
I love Josh Gates.
I wish I could remember the episode, and I really wanted to go back and watch it. I just didn't have time to see maybe some more details or some firsthand accounts or any of that thing. But this is, I mean, they love this thing up there. This is their tourist attraction. According to legend, a man caught one of the creatures in 1890, and more of them roam around Rhinelander. The Hodag, there you go. There he is.
So I'm for those of you that are listening, I am bringing up on the screen what the Hodag is, and Rich, you can go ahead and describe it. For those of you watching, I'm gonna just make this bigger.
Looks like it's probably maybe the size of, well, the creature we're looking at is obviously a statue of it, but when I've looked at in stories, it looks to me like it's probably the size of maybe like a small bear, maybe like like a panther or something like that.
But now, so this,
Horns,
yeah, the
sharp
statue they
teeth.
have of it has horns all over the body, large claws, big horns, like Viking horns almost. And that's the statue. But there's, I guess there's a museum. Do you have anything about the museum?
I did not see anything about the museum up there.
So, for those of you that are listening, I'm on a
Mhm.
Roadside America, and for those of you watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see this early specimen of the hodag on display at the Logging Museum. So, I'm not sure if they're trying to say that this was. So this is just like an example of the hodag, but like
Yep.
an early version of it. So now that looks really creepy. It looks like a cross between
Yeah,
a
but you can
centipede and a beaver and
you can clearly tell that that's something that is not real. Predominantly in the early Paul Bunyan stories is where that is
okay.
figured predominantly, and it has strong ties to the city of Rhinelander, where it claims to have been discovered. Like I said at the beginning of the story, it's one of their claims to fame, and that's what they use for tourist stuff. When you go there, you could buy souvenirs of the hodag. You can go to the restaurants. It's all hodag stuff. That's what it is. In 1893, newspapers reported that the hodag was discovered in Rhinelander, Wisconsin. They described it as head of a frog, which I'm not so sure that looks like a head of a frog.
No, it doesn't look like a frog.
The grinning face of a giant elephant.
No.
That's what I mean. Not when you look at it, you're now if you're picturing this of what I'm telling you, don't, because it's not going to be what it looks like. But this is what they're describing it in this newspaper article. This is how they're describing it.
Okay.
Thick, short legs set off by huge claws, the back of a dinosaur, and a long tail with spears at the end. That's kind of close. I mean, it's got the spikes down the back. So I guess, maybe they're looking at that as maybe the dinosaur part of it. I mean, maybe. I don't know, but if I look at that, I don't see the head of a frog. I don't see anything that a grinning face of a giant elephant. I have no idea where they're coming up with some of that stuff. Up in Rhinelander, there was a guy, a prankster named Eugene Shepard. He rounded up a group of people to capture the animal. This is back in 1893.
Okay.
So the group reportedly needed to use dynamite to kill the beast. Now, I think that might be a little bit extreme, but it's a photograph of, okay. A photograph of the remains of the charred beast was released to the media. It was the fiercest, strangest, most frightening monster ever to set razor sharp claws on the earth. It became extinct after its main food source, all white bullfrogs, again with the frog thing, became scarce in the area. So this thing that's supposedly the fiercest thing ever, it's eating frogs.
So that was its main nutrients was frogs.
I mean, even the chupacabra, again, my favorite, he's at least going after goats and stuff. I mean, this guy's going after frogs. I mean, even if he was going after frogs, do you think
fierce.
The frogs? Do you think everybody's like, oh my God, someone took the frogs? I'm not thinking, I mean, no offense to people that like frogs, but I mean, I'm not thinking that was a big thing. Now, I just want to read this one little article here about the hoax that just kind of maybe puts it a little more in perspective of some of the urban legend stuff. It says that Shepard claimed to have captured another hodag. So they killed the first one with dynamite.
Okay.
And then in 1896, he captured another one. This one he captured alive. Didn't have to kill it. According to his reports, he and several bear wrestlers placed chloroform on the end of a long pole, which they then worked into a cave of the creature where it was overcome.
Okay, wait. Bear wrestlers, like that was their profession?
Yeah, bear wrestlers. I suppose back in 1896, I mean, up in the North Woods, you had the lumberjacks, you had, I mean, you know, the Paul Bunyan stuff. I mean, you can picture some,
apparently they're wrestling another bears. Rhinelander thing. Although, no, now that you mention it, didn't it used to be like a sideshow thing, like bear wrestling?
Probably, yeah. I mean, I could see that as well. And that may be, and you know what? That may be where this article's going. Because it does talk about a county fair.
Bear wrestling is a thing.
Okay. There's a cat on you. There's a cat right behind you.
Temple's very interested in being part of this podcast. But yeah, bears have long been a part of professional wrestling, usually declawed and muzzled. They often wrestled
There you go.
shoot matches against audience members, offered a cash reward if they could pin the bear.
There you go.
That's kind of sad though. Poor bear.
No bears were hurt in the making of this podcast.
Yes, no bears were hurt in this podcast for sure.
So then Shepard, he displayed this hodag at the first Oneida County Fair. Thousands of people came to see the hodag at the fair or at Shepard's display in his shanty at his house. So apparently he made a display, and this thing's okay. You're gonna catch on here pretty quick, but he's got this thing that he's calling a hodag in a case or whatever, and everybody come see it. He connected wires to it. So he would occasionally move the creature with these wires to make it look like it was real and alive and moving. He said he would typically send the already skittish viewers fleeing from the display the minute he'd move the wires.
Sideshow.
Yeah. So like I said, we probably with the bear wrestling thing.
Yeah.
So at the county fair, the sideshow stuff. So he's got this thing in a box. You can kind of picture it. I think we've all seen, the circus with the sideshows and all that.
Right.
You got something really weird, the bearded baby or something. I mean,
yeah,
I don't know because I don't know. I don't claim.
Fun fact: my sister, we have different fathers, but her aunt or great aunt, or maybe I don't know, one of her relatives, distant relatives, was in the circus as a sideshow.
Really?
I won't say as what, but they were in.
I no need to.
She was in the sideshow for a circus. I was like, wow, what a life. I mean, I couldn't imagine. It might be fun traveling around everywhere, but I wouldn't want to be like a sideshow.
No, I don't think. Yeah, and I mean, yeah, me neither. Anyway, his hoax was discovered when a group of scientists from the Smithsonian Institute at Washington, D.C. announced they'd be traveling to Rhinelander to check on his apparent discovery. Huh. So basically, news got out. The Smithsonian wanted to say, well, let's go check this thing out. Obviously, back then, it was probably early enough that there wasn't a lot of these stories going on where people are finding these creatures or whatever. So
yeah, now remember, we talked about in our spontaneous human combustion podcast that the 1800s was that magical time of snake oil and tails, and that's when most of the SHC cases were going on. So I'm not surprised.
Yep. That's when that is when he was outed and he admitted that it was a hoax.
Oh, so okay.
Is there really any evidence of this creature? No, not that I've seen. Just more kind of like on the lines of like you were saying before with the Beast of Bray Road,
yeah.
People are going to have their stories and their sightings. And, I guess that's what makes it an urban legend.
So the guy admitted that it was a hoax, but the town still clings to the hodag thing. Like, there's people today that still believe that there's hodags, is my question.
Yes, correct. And that's where I was going earlier when I said I wish I would have watched that episode with Josh Gates, because when he went there, that's I think everybody's seen Destination Truth or Expedition Unknown, whatever. If not, watch it. Great show. I love Josh Gates.
I love Josh Gates too. My friend used to, my oldest and dearest bestest friend Shannon used to manage some like condos in Florida. So Josh Gates had visited there a couple of times, and she said, "Oh my God, my friend Gina just loves you. It's her birthday." And so it wasn't his handwriting. She wrote "Happy Birthday" to me, but he held up the sign, and they took their picture together to send to me. And so I was so excited. So I will cherish that photo forever. Thank you, Josh Gates. It was me. I'm the one. I don't know if I'll ever hear this, but it was me.
Yep. So, I think I'm going to go back and watch that episode personally. I'm going to watch it just to see, because this is an interesting one. Okay, let's move on to another one here.
Let's do it.
Here's one in Antigo, the Antigo alien encounter. Now, I tried to research this a little bit. I could not find anything on it. I could not find anything other than this little blurb on this top 8. Like I said, I kind of went after I read these to try to find more backstory on them. The Hodag one I could find a little bit on.
We'll have to dig into some of these, but
Yeah,
I'm just excited to hear
and
that we have a list of urban
yeah,
legends
and I'm not going on a
West
rabbit hole. I mean, I'm
in
here to
West.
have fun, and
Right.
you know, I'm not here to claim I'm an expert or be, next week I might forget everything I said, and I'm fine with that because I'm
You'll just
focused
have
on
to
stuff.
listen to it again.
Exactly. So, but here's what it says about this Antigo alien encounter. And
Okay.
if you look now, these first three here that we've talked about are all North Woods type thing up north of where we're located at. We're down on the southeastern part of Wisconsin, like border of Illinois, Wisconsin. So we're between Chicago and Milwaukee.
Yeah.
All this stuff is, 4, 5, 6 hours north.
Like getting up towards like
Canada.
the tip, like
Or
Canada.
not Canada.
Yeah.
Well, Canada, up the UP of Michigan, upper
Right.
Michigan, up that way. Which I thought was kind of interesting that a lot of this stuff is up that way. This one's a little more recent, 1974. So
Okay.
I mean, not new, but newer than
I was the
1896.
tender age of 1.
I'm not going to say how old I was.
Depending the month, I was either 1 or under. So 1974. Got it.
Doesn't give me a month, so we're just going to say 1974. It says there was numerous supposed sightings of UFOs in Antigo. It's not totally clear what happened, but one woman apparently interacted with an alien. Mrs. H is what we're going to call, is what her name is. Apparently,
Okay.
Her name's protected because she's innocent.
Anonymity.
So, yep. Who owned a bar and restaurant, was shocked when a funny looking little man walked into the joint and started talking in very quick English about Medford and the whole world lighting up, and then left in a flash. I have a lot of things wrong with that story.
My brain is going in places that maybe it shouldn't. I know.
I mean, you know what? I don't know. Now
she owns a bar. First of all, how much did she have to drink? Second of all,
a funny looking little man. Now that could
be anybody.
Describe anybody. Doesn't say that he looked like an alien. Doesn't say, oh, he had antennas. Doesn't say any of that. Just a funny looking little man, and started talking in very quick English. Okay. Well, don't you think if it was an alien, he'd be talking and you could understand him? Maybe
he's a speed reader.
Oh, well, I don't know. And he left in a flash. Well, does that mean he
dashed out the door, or did he disintegrate?
Yeah, spontaneously combusted.
That's what I was just thinking.
I don't know. I have a lot of things wrong with that story, but apparently there's UFOs in Antigo. So I wish I could have found more on that story.
Maybe we should just go there and interview some people.
Where's Antigo at? I've heard of it. I'm not sure. I think I've seen signs for it. I don't know if I've ever been up there. I don't know if that's is that towards the Green Bay area?
Antigo right now.
I think maybe.
So it is actually north, east of Stevens Point, just slightly east. Okay. It is south of Rhinelander. So it is literally between Stevens Point and Rhinelander. So if you're going to Stevens Point, maybe you should go over there and figure this out.
Sounds like sounds like we have lots to do. I'm not going to Stevens Point though. I'm going to Eagle River.
Oh, Eagle River. That's right. That's what you said.
Next one on the list. Phantom Man on Highway 12. So this is up in Baraboo area.
Okay.
Circus World Museum. I've been to Circus World Museum before when I was probably many years younger. It was kind of cool. It was neat when you're a kid. It's neat to see all this stuff. And actually, I'd like to go back again and check it out now that I'm an adult. When people are driving through the area, they have reported seeing a hitchhiker in a tattered green army jacket. When they pass him by and look in their rearview mirrors, the man is gone. No one has actually picked up the person, but remains on the side of the road waiting for a ride, is what this one is. Now, it sounds very familiar to the woman in white, or
right, the woman in white. So this guy is on Highway 12 near that museum.
Yep. In Baraboo, right there. I've been on Highway 12 before. I've taken 12 from here all the way up there, so I know what they're talking about. It's kind of, now it doesn't give a year, so I don't know if it's just a thing that it still goes on. I really wish there was some pinpoints there of last time somebody saw it, or last time somebody heard about it. Because who knows? 20 years ago, the towns weren't built up as much as they are now. Now you go through
Right.
Highway 12. There's you got to slow down for a lot of towns, and
Yeah.
it's built up a lot more than it used to be. So I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not sure that you're still seeing this guy. Obviously tattered army jacket, and no one's actually stopped to pick him up. I wish somebody would have tried.
Does it say how many reports of this guy
Doesn't
that
say on the
there was?
reports either. Just that there's reports of it, and he remains on the side of the road waiting for a ride. So, you know, typical urban legend. Not your like I said, your woman in white. Usually you're seeing them on the side of the road, or
Right.
what's the one in Resurrection
Resurrection Mary in
Mary
Chicago.
down in
Mhm.
Chicago.
Actually,
Some
it's
of
like
the
down in like
it's in Justice, Illinois. It's right there by was that Resurrection Cemetery, right?
I've been there. I went to the cemetery one.
I've been there.
Yeah, Justice, Illinois. Oh, okay, near Romeoville. Okay, because I was originally going to say Joliet, but
Oh yeah, yeah.
so it's in that area. But
It's
yes,
kind
I
of
did.
over
I've
by
gone there.
Bachelor's Grove
Yes.
Cemetery. It's over that way.
Okay.
It's over that way because when we went to Bachelor's Grove with Paranormal team on the way home, we drove past it.
Yeah.
It was closed. The cemetery was closed, but
I
if you
think
look
we
it up,
went on Halloween night, and because I can't remember the legend, but we did something about going on Halloween night, and my friends and I went, and so we were like taking pictures and using some other tools outside of the cemetery. You couldn't get in, the gates were closed and locked, and this guy comes out of nowhere, scares the shit out of me. Like I I thought I was gonna have a heart attack. He comes out, he knew what the hell he was doing. Like he knew what we were doing there. And so he comes around the corner, he's like, what are you guys doing? Holy shit. My friend that was with me, she was like scared out of her mind too. But then we ended up like taking pictures with these guys. And
oh
actually,
yeah,
yeah, so I'll have to dig those up because I'm sure I have them somewhere. We took pictures with these guys that were in the cemetery, and I don't know if they were like police officers or what, because there was a lot that would happen in the cemetery
yeah,
on this particular night. People would go there to try to get Resurrection Mary to come
right.
back, but we'll do that for another podcast. Sorry, moving along.
Hope you're good. Next one, Bloody Bride Bridge.
Bloody Bride Bridge. Say that 10 times
Yep.
fast.
Don't know where it's at. Doesn't tell me. When I searched it, I couldn't find it.
So basically, you just like these were just urban legends that supposedly
What-
belong to Wisconsin.
What I
But
typed in to look, and Wisconsin urban legends. So it pops up only in yourstate.com is the site.
Oh, okay.
And then this is their list. Yeah, some of these don't tell you where anything's at. And
So
then
the Bloody Bride Bridge, was there even a story about it?
legend goes, bride was killed on her wedding night, and she continues to haunt the area, sitting in the back of cars visible to drivers in the mirror. According to a legend, again, years later, a police officer hit a woman and went back to help her. When he ran back, there was no one there. So kind of
Shit, and
similar.
it didn't say where it was at.
Doesn't say. And here's another one that doesn't say, but with the name of it, you would think it would tell you. Siren Bridge. The family was driving over Siren Bridge when a car went through the guardrails, resulting in everyone in the car drowning. And when people drive through the area, they report hearing the child's voice over the radio saying, "Mommy, help me. I can't get out." I mean, you told me stories about bridges down in Indiana. Same,
Mhm.
So how many of these that we're actually talking about today are just variations of other urban legends, and that people hear and then they make it out to be
It
something
travels across the United States. It travels
that's,
across the world.
yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking on some of these as I was going over them, especially when I couldn't find anything deeper.
If there's anybody from Wisconsin, from any of these towns that knows
yeah, absolutely,
anything about these urban legends, especially the
Yep.
ones that we don't have any information on, we would love to hear any information that you have on this.
Yep. Or if you know of
Share
any
it
other
with it,
ones, if you
and
know
we
of
can
any other Wisconsin urban
Yeah.
legends or urban legends from wherever you're from,
Yeah.
let us know if you want us to look into it or you want to give us a shout as to what it's all about.
Yeah, I've listened. Anybody that's got urban legend from their area that they want to tell, you can write a story. We can read it on here, or we can have a brief interview with you and perhaps bring you on the show. We'd love to hear your urban legend stories.
Yeah, I mean, now when we started the episode, we talked about other urban legends, and we could just name off a few of them that come off the top of our head. to finish out the show or whatever. But Bloody Mary, that's a popular one.
Yeah.
I think probably is global. I think that's
Loch Ness Monster.
Loch Ness Monster.
Um,
The Chupacabra, more cryptid, but
yeah, the little kids pushing like a person's
yep.
car over the railroad tracks if it stalls to save their life.
Yeah, where you hear, it was a school bus accident at the tracks or whatever, and that's the kids are trying to help save you from being stuck on the tracks, and it turns out to be explainable. Everything usually turns out to be explainable,
right?
Or anybody that has a story about it is kind of vague, and there's no basis or no proof. I mean,
I would just love to know where these started, like where these urban legends coming from. And also I find it completely interesting that, that even though somebody admitted to something being a hoax, that there's still people that believe, you're
always going to get the person that's going to go, yeah, well, maybe that one wasn't, but
or maybe they think, this
that
person was forced to say that it was a hoax because, the alternative would be they'd have to accept that there's this weird creature out there eating all the frogs in the land.
I mean, some of the details of these are bizarre and makes you wonder, just are they out there like that for a reason because they're just so unbelievable?
Right. Well, it's the thing is like, I just would love to know how these started. I would just want to know how
many of them are just parents trying to scare their kids into not doing something stupid or
well, have you ever heard of snipe hunting? Like people playing jokes on people for snipe hunting, that it's like a pretend animal. And so my brother did this to my kids and my kids' friends when they were little. They're like, hey, tonight when it gets dark, it gets dusk, that's when the snipes start to come out. So we're going to try to, and he described them in whatever way. And he's like, and then we're going to go snipe hunting. And so, I don't know if it was like an Ohio thing, because like that's where I grew up. And so I know a lot of people that were tricked by their parents or uncles or family members, like, hey, we're going to go snipe hunting, and they're out like all night or whatever, and they don't catch it. There's nothing there. But so my kids were like, my brother made up this thing, like, you have to like walk a certain way. You have to walk in a straight line, because if they hear people fanned out, or, he made up this big thing. So they're all walking in their line and they're making this noise that he made up to try to, get them to come. And so at some point he went and hid around the other side of the shed, and like they're continuing with their snipe hunting, and I'm watching, and he like jumps out and scares the shit out of them. And they screamed, and some of them cried, and they were so angry because we probably had them hunting snipe for, I shouldn't say we, it's my brother, I'm going to blame it all on him. But we had them hunting snipe for they had to have been out there at least for an hour or more. So patient, waiting for it to get dusk, ready to go on their hunt.
And what age were they, would you say?
So probably they were all like 10 and under. Maybe
so about that age, like
maybe 11, maybe 12 and under. But
at what age do you stop believing in some of that stuff? Or is it that when you get to a certain age, you're distracted by other things?
Yeah.
And not so much focused on things that are, I don't know, fantasy or your things that you watch on TV that you wish are real, or you hear people with imaginary friends at a certain point, or even the paranormal with the kids and ghosts and paranormal activity, that's they seem to be the ones that are able to draw that in, or able to see that and experience it more as you get older. That veil darkens maybe, and you don't have that. And what's the reason? Is it just because you're not focused anymore on that, or so much else happens in life that now your mind is just totally different direction.
This will definitely be something we discover on another that we talk about in another episode, is like the thinning of the veil. Like I feel like everybody's born with that like empirical knowledge of like knowing everything, and eventually it just like you said, the veil darkens, or everything. It's like the curtain closes, and then you're no longer a connection. So we'll definitely dig into that
And I
someday.
wish
I'm
I wish
excited.
I would have experienced some of that stuff maybe a little more when I was
But you
younger.
probably did, and you just don't remember. I mean,
Yeah, I
there's
don't
lots
remember
of things
anything.
like there's stories like when we talk about it, I can tell you that my kids, some of the stuff they said, and I was like, what are you like? My son told me a story about when he was a fighter pilot in World War II, and he was 3 at the time. So we will definitely be talking about this story.
I'm going to tell you, I've had people tell me some stuff too, and it's freaky when they tell you stuff that, hey,
There's things my son shouldn't have known.
there, yeah, exactly.
At 3 years old, there's
That is
no
very
way.
strange, and I agree. I've never experienced it personally where I've had someone right in front of me telling the story, or somebody that I know that is telling or has experienced that, or even a child telling me that personally
And
for me
maybe
to go,
this is
what
how
are you
urban
talking about?
legends start. Maybe somebody has a real experience and the story gets told over and over and over again and then washed down or watered down, or another person owns it and they tell the story and say it happened to them. You know what? You see what I'm saying? Like maybe that's how these legends are started, is just by maybe a semi-real story or maybe a real story. We don't know, but
And like they say, all urban legends are probably, there's probably just enough truth in it
to
that
keep it going.
to keep it believable, that
Mhm.
that's why we're still talking about it. Doesn't
Yeah.
it could be unbelievable and crazy and whatever, but there's always that small little piece of it
Yeah.
that makes you go, well, it could be, maybe. I mean,
Yeah.
some of them.
So yeah, I think that's I think it's really interesting that the ones that you brought up here in Wisconsin seem to be similar to urban legends pretty much in
Some of
any
them.
town USA,
Yep. Yep.
any town in any country. So
I mean, do people just kind of grab them and claim them as their own,
I think
so to
so.
speak? I mean,
But they didn't have the internet back then, so how does it make it around the world? That's the question, is whenever there's stories about certain things like, let's say, Yetis or Sasquatch or whatever, like people describe so much of the same thing way before there was like internet and social media and
yep.
ways to easily communicate or
Yep.
even affordably communicate
Mm-hmm.
other than by way of a letter. So was it from books? Were there books that were written? And so like books are translated in different languages and maybe that's where they get it from. Like, I don't know, but it's weird to me that they just describe things that are so similar and so exact and so much the same. And everybody's having these same experiences.
Yeah. See, those are the pieces right there.
Glitch in the matrix.
Yep.
Maybe the programming that they wrote for all of us, like they couldn't think of more extensive programming for every single
Yep.
location. So we're just
and just like that right there, you can rationalize it and come up with reasons why it could be true. And that's I think any of them. It's a definitely interesting conversation.
Well, we are definitely going to. So we want to hear your stories about urban legends. We're definitely going to try to find more information on some of these urban legends here in Wisconsin. So hopefully you learned today that Wisconsin's not boring. We have our own stories here, and we have a lot of beer and cheese. So in Lake Michigan, what do you have today?
Blue Moon, Belgian White.
Nice.
Just regular Blue Moon here. Yeah.
Yeah, I was rushing.
Before that, I had a Cayman Jack Cuban mojito.
Ooh.
So
Kez's mom, fun fact, Cayman Jacks are her favorite, but it's the margarita. I had a lot of running around today.
There. Yeah.
I had a lot to do today. I got my hair done. Shout out to Sarah at Ulta on my beautiful hair today. So shout out to Sarah at Ulta in Racine. And I told her about the podcast and she was going to start listening. Like, my dad just won't believe that it's me that they're talking about. So Sarah's dad, yes, it's her that we're talking about. So I'll put that in there.
Very nice.
Well, thanks, Rich, for educating us on some urban legends here in Wisconsin. I got to say it as Wisconsin as possible. Wisconsin. No, I can't even fake it. Well, thank you, everyone, for listening. Make sure you check back with us on Wednesday for our Weird Weekly News. Mm-hmm. Stay weird.
Thanks for tuning in. Peace out.
Bye. Ciao.
Ciao.